Hello, my name is Cheris Jesse.
Hello, my name is Darren Luciano.
In our daily life, we'll be faced with different society who has a different language. It makes possible to us facing the problem of communication in different situations by switch and mixing the languages. This phenomenon is widely observed in multilingual. So, what is multilingualism? Multilingualism is a person that can be individual or societies or group that able to speak more than two languages. So why it is related to code switching and code mixing? Because a multilingual can emphasize the grammar and also suggest a hybrid form of word or phrases or clauses in sentences. Okay, let's start to discuss our first topic about code switching. It will be explained by my partner Darren.
Alright, today we're going to talk about code switching. Now as you all know, code switching is described as the combining terms or phrases from two languages together through the duration of speaking or writing. Now, in this regard, a language or a dialect is considered as a code. Now, code switching, or in short as CS, is the change of terms and expressions between two languages. This frequently happens between individuals who share their specific codes. Now, off to the next topic. Now, for the next topic, we have the characteristics of code switching. Now, for the first characteristic is code switching occurs when two languages are used in the same sentence. The second one is in an earlier study, Bokomba at 1989 claims that code switching is the mixing of words, phrases, and the sentences from the distant grammatical systems across sentence boundaries within a speech event. Now, in addition, Myers-Scotton from 2002 suggests that the elements of the language varieties then that the language varieties occurs in the same place of the structure for code switching. Now, off to the last topic about code switching. Now, for the last topic about code switching, we're going to talk about the three types of code switching. Now, for the first type, we have the intersentential switching. Now, the intersentential switching is a code switching that is within a clause or a sentence. Or in short explanation, that intersentential is a code switching in which switches that occur between a clause or a sentence boundary. Like for example, I was speak ando with Steve the other day. Now the word ando is from a Spanish progressive morpheme, rather than using the English ing for ing. The grammatical boundaries of English and Spanish morphemes are similar in English and Spanish. Now for the second one, we have the intersentential switching. Now the intersentential switching is a code switching that only happens between clause or sentence boundaries. In the case, an entire clause or sentence is in one language. Like for example, when the clause and sentence is in English, that is in English. Like for example, sometimes I will start a sentence in English, yo termino hoy en español. It means that I will start in the sentence in English, then I will finish the sentence. Now for the third type, we have tag switching. Tag switching is a kind of switching that sometimes is called emblematic switching or context switching. Like for example, I'm a good friend, ne? Now the ne is from a word Japanese that means no. That means no, or isn't that right? Now this word ne from the Japanese word is used to give a teasing tone to the sentence. A teasing tone is like we tease people, like haha, you look funny.
Simply, code mixing is a situation where one language mixes with another language. This can be in form of word, phrase, clause, or in sentences. Next is about the characteristic of code mixing. There are two characteristics of code mixing. Code mixing is used when someone uses one word or phrase from one language to another language. And the second characteristic is about the situation. Usually in informal situation, it is because the relationship of the speaker and the listener is close. Now let's move to the types of code mixing. There are three types of code mixing. The first type is intrasentential mixing. It switches inside the sentence, but there is a sentence boundary, or we know as sentence breaking. And the second type is intralexical code mixing. It is also switched inside the sentence, but there is a word boundary. And the last type of code mixing is involving a change in pronunciation. Basically, it's about code mixing based on the sound of the word. Like from the example, oh glowing emang lagi viral banget. Viral or viral is an English word, but as an Indonesian, we say viral instead of viral. Next topic is about factors that support the practice of code switching and code mixing by the multilingualism. So the first factor is about talking about a particular topic. So people sometimes prefer to talk in one language rather than in another language to express more their emotion. And the second is quoting somebody else. People mix and switch language to quote a famous expression like proverb or saying from a well-known figure. Next factor is being empathetic about something that usually express solidarity. And the fourth is interjection that form in exclamation mark. Next factors is for repetition used for clarification and intention of clarifying the speech content for listener. And the last factor is expressing group identity. So people communicate will portray which group they belong to by switch and mix their language.
Alright, now we'll be going to the reasons of why multilingualism is code switching and code mixing. Now, from the factor that the reason of multilingualism uses code switching and code mixing has three reasons on why it uses code switching and code mixing. Now let's start with the first reason. The first reason is the need to fit in with a group of speakers. Now for the second reason is as a force of habit. Now for the third and final reason is to convey thought and concepts that might be easier to explain in a specific language.
Before we end this video, let's conclude what we talked before. Code switching and code mixing is common among multilingual. Code switching is when the speaker switch between two languages back and forth in the same sentences. And code mixing is when the speaker use one primary language but mix inside it with other language. That's all from our video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.